Hello everyone, this is Moose, and today is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2014. Now lately, what's been on my mind is how important it is that a good movie get those last few seconds right, that last shot before cutting away to the credits. That's the moment that the audience is left with, and ideally the credits will reflect that last scene or the tone of the movie in some way. But sometimes an otherwise good movie, or maybe an otherwise mediocre movie, will derail itself there at the very end. The most examples of this I can think of are horror movies, where the protagonist overcomes the obstacles, defeats the villain or the monster, and everything fits the structure of the story. But then there at the last few seconds, the villain makes his last reappearance just to kind of scare the audience and throw off the whole conclusion of the movie. I don't think that's really what they aim for, but sometimes that's how it happens. Some of the best movies out there will end in a way that leaves the audience thinking about the movie, and leaves the audience with a feeling they could identify with the movie. A movie like Planet of the Apes, or The Godfather, or Brazil, one of my favorites. Movies like that, the ending has a very strong tone, and then it cuts to the credits, and the credits kind of reflect the tone of that movie. Sometimes it's a twist ending, like the end of Planet of the Apes or Brazil. Sometimes the credits doesn't quite reflect the end the way I think it should. One example of that is The Watchmen. I really like The Watchmen, and I really like that last scene just before it cuts to the credits. The last thing it reveals to you. I really like that. I think that's a good ending to leave the audience with, to leave the audience thinking. But then the credits do kind of distract from that. They might reflect the tone of the movie, maybe, but it doesn't really reflect that last scene. If you're left thinking about what happened just before the credits themselves might distract from that. But that's just my opinion. Back to the subject of horror movies throwing things off. Sometimes a horror movie tries to end things with one last scare. Other times they try to leave the movie open-ended for a sequel. That does not always work, especially with horror movies, because horror is usually a battle between good and evil, a protagonist and an antagonist. And if you leave it open-ended, that can often mean not really giving it an ending. For example, Freddy vs. Jason. I'm not going to call that a good movie. But there at the very end, the last thing it shows us indicates that the battle didn't really have an ending at all. And unless we ever get a sequel, the movie didn't really wrap up or go anywhere. So that's probably not what they were aiming for, but that's what they gave us. Now, even in the horror genre, though, that can be done right. Anything like this can be done right. That last final scare, or leaving it open-ended, or maybe you even want to actually leave the movie to be continued. It can always be done right, but a lot of these films can't do it right. And I guess that last scare is actually the feeling they want to leave you with. They want to leave you with that one last jump, leave you thinking that the movie was scary. But unless you scare that easily, you're probably going to be stuck thinking that it didn't really have a conclusion. And speaking of conclusions, I think I'm running out of time, so I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you for watching, and come back next time.